Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Tyler Rugge, and for today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to tame your bird, how to make your bird like you, stop biting you, and let you handle them more. All those fun questions that I get all the time. Literally, one of my most asked questions and most requested videos is like, how do I make my bird like me? Like, my bird does not like me. How do you tame down a bird? Like, how did you make Mango so frickin' tame and nice? Well, he's nice to me. Before we get into this video, it's sponsored by My Right Bird. If you guys want to check out the bird quiz, I'll link it down below. You guys can take this really cool interactive quiz. It's super cute. It's a quiz to figure out what kind of bird would best suit you in your lifestyle. So if you're looking into getting a bird and you're wondering what kind would be good for you, take the quiz link down below. Even if you don't want a bird, it's a fun quiz to take. So make sure to go check that out in the description below. So getting into how to make your bird like you, I'm just gonna kind of give you guys some tips and some things that have worked for me. And also I looked online to find other tips that people have shared that I personally either haven't heard of or haven't tried. Not all these tips are going to work for every bird. You need to kind of try different ones and figure out what works for you, because every bird is different. Every bird is going to need something else to kind of get them to become more comfortable with you. Also, I almost forgot to mention that this is Gizmo, my parents' Severe Macaw. If he seems a little bit uncomfortable, it's because he is not used to me handling him. One of the very first and probably most basic, but also most important techniques I can give you is to keep your bird cage in a room where a lot of people are constantly in and around, because you want your bird to get used to people and having people around. So you want to have the bird cage like in the family room or the living room. Wherever there's people hanging out all the time in your house is where you want the bird cage to go. However, do not put your bird cage in the kitchen. I have a video that I'll link down below of different things in your house that can actually kill your bird. And a couple of those things are things in the kitchen like non-stick cookware made from Teflon and different fumes that can just come from the kitchen. Again, I talk about it more down below. But don't keep your bird cage in the kitchen because it is very dangerous, especially if your bird were to fly into something that was really hot. And the only issue with this one is you might say my bird screams all the time and is really annoying. But sticking your bird in a room isolated from people all day is not going to help the situation. It's not going to make your bird be quieter. It's just going to make them more angry. And yes, it might be annoying having your screaming bird in the family room while you're trying to watch TV. But the whole process of this taming thing is to partially to stop the bird from screaming, because the bird screams because it's unhappy or it wants something. So once your bird is tamed and you can handle them more, they will quiet down, I promise you. So keep the bird in the family room and put up with the screaming for a little while. You'll get used to it, trust me. Okay, so this is Mango. He's my son, Conure, and he's gonna be here for now. I wanted to give Gizmo a little bit of a break. So yeah, you got your bird cage in your family room. Everything's good. Next tip is to leave the bird cage open whenever you're there to supervise the bird, at least, because it kind of gives the bird a freedom to come and go out of the cage as it wants, and it'll really help while the bird's trying to get used to its environment, get familiar, especially if it's like a newer bird that you just came home with. When you first get your bird, you want to leave it in the cage for like a week and not let it out so that it can get used to its cage and get used to its territory and all that stuff. But after that, if you're there to watch it, leave the bird cage open so that they can come and go as they would please. Again, only do this if you're in the room, because your birds can get into stuff if they fly away from their cage, and especially if you have other animals. Yeah, if you're in the room, I just want to stress that. If you're in the room, leave the bird cage open. Now, it might be common sense that your bird doesn't want to be stuck in a cage all day, so it might be hard for you to manually take your bird out of the cage. Like Mango, I can just get him to step up and take him out. But when your bird is aggressive and is trying to lunge and bite at you all the time, that might not be as easy. So the answer is not to just not try to get your bird out of the cage. The answer would be to leave the cage open just so they can come out whenever they want. Not only that, but trying to get your bird to step up when they're out of their cage is 10 times easier than trying to get your bird to step up when they're in their cage, because when they're in their cage, they are in their territory. They do not want you to tell them when they can leave their territory, and they do not want you sticking your hands in their territory. So it is a bit easier to handle your bird when they're out of the cage as opposed to when they're in the cage. And yes, you do want to get to the point where you are handling your bird within the cage too, but we're gonna get there, don't worry. When your bird is finally outside of the cage is when you can once again try to kind of step up and do stuff like that. And if your bird is still like, nope, I'm afraid of you, get away from me, you need to start getting your bird at that point used to you, obviously, getting to know that you're not going to hurt it and that it can trust you. What a lot of people don't realize about birds is they're smart. They're a lot smarter than your dog. They're a lot smarter than your cat. They are very smart. You might not be able to teach your bird. I was about to say you probably can't teach your bird to roll over, but there probably are videos of people teaching their bird to roll over. My point is, birds are very smart, and they have the capacity to like recognize certain people and be like, I like you and I don't like you, and I like you and I don't like you. So you want your bird to like you, and if it doesn't like you now, you gotta get it to trust you. And one of the ways that I like to do this is with treats. Now, what you can use for treats, you can look up. There's a ton of stuff you can use. Whatever your bird loves is what you want to use as a treat. Some people like to use seeds as treats because some birds really like seeds. If your bird likes a certain type of fruit or something, then you might want to use that as a treat. What helps is hand feeding them. Gizmo, the bird that I just had before, is very defensive of his cage. If you stick a finger in the cage, he will like lunge at you. However, if you stick a treat in the cage, he will nicely like come over and just like gently take it out of your hand. Birds like treats, and it'll just kind of get them used to like, oh, the hand's coming towards me. Oh, look, a treat. And it's like positive reinforcement that when you're going and reaching for your bird, it's not a bad thing, kids. I'm giving you a frickin' treat. Kind of going along with gaining your bird's trust, as well as handing your bird treats, another thing you can do. And again, it depends on what your bird's personality is and what freaks your bird out and what your bird doesn't care about. Just getting your hand basically near the bird so your bird gets used to your hand being there and like nothing bad happening, basically. You can put your hand up against the cage. And again, this is if you have a bird that doesn't lunge at your hand. Against the cage or kind of like near the cage, maybe like a couple inches away from the cage, and just kind of leave it there like near where the bird is and just like don't move so that your bird can kind of see your hand, see that nothing's happening and that everything's all good. And you can just start off by doing that. And then you can get to the point where you open the cage and you put your hand in the cage and you leave it there and you don't do anything. Show your bird, nothing bad's gonna happen. My hand's in the cage, nothing's happening. And then you can kind of get to where you like kind of slowly start moving it closer and closer to your bird. So like, let's pretend I'm in a huge cage right now. First, you're gonna wanna maybe be back here and be like, look, my hand's here, nothing bad's happening. Like, and then eventually you can move closer to your bird. Nothing bad's happening. Move closer to your bird. Move closer to your bird. And then once it gets to the point where you can get pretty close to your bird without your bird freaking out, you can start putting a couple treats in your hand or put like some food in your hand or whatever, and kind of like put your hand with the treats near your bird so that your bird can pick the treats out of your hand. And then once it gets to that point, you can try, you know, doing the step up again, or you can try to like kind of hold a treat like over here and get your bird to step onto your finger for the treat. The very last thing I want to stress in this video is the importance of spending a lot of time with your bird, okay? People will wonder, why does my bird hate me? I try to do everything. Like, I just don't understand. My bird does not like me. And chances are, if you're really trying super hard, it might just literally be that you're not spending enough time. You might think that an hour a day with your bird is a lot of time, but to your bird, that is not a lot of time. Birds are very social, so they require a lot of interaction time. So it's kind of like a baby, I guess, in a way, where like if you only interacted with your baby for an hour a day, is your baby gonna like you, or is it gonna be like, wow, my mom neglected me as a child? Like whenever you're home, you want to be around your bird. You don't have to be physically like holding your bird, but just having your bird like in the room, whether that be on top of the cage or on a perch or on a play set or whatever, or just like sitting on your desk or something. You want to have your bird near you so that your bird is used to your presence and used to your voice. And then like when you're working, doing whatever you're doing, you can kind of talk to your bird. If you're watching TV, you can kind of like talk to your bird on the commercials. And it just helps getting your bird used to you. I guess those are all the tips that I have. If you guys have any tips that work for you, please let me know in the comments. Let us all know so that we can keep learning and everyone else can try new things. Again, these are just things that have worked for me or that I read online that worked for other people. Don't forget to check out the My Right Bird quiz. The link will be in the description below. And you can take this really fun interactive quiz and figure out what bird is best for you. I took the quiz. I can link that video down below. That is it for today's video. Give it a big thumbs up if it helped you out. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Also subscribe to my vlog channel, which will be linked down below as well. On my vlog channel, I have a ton of my animals. I just posted a video that had Desmond, my rabbit, in it, and like my other birds. And it was a fun time. Also, don't forget to check out all my social media links. I have Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all those millennial things. Check them out in the description below. Say goodbye to Mango, the bird. Okay, like literally he pooped on my back though, and it's wet. It is wet, Mango. Thank you. Thank you so much.